Dallas Strikers. Portland, the Lumberjacks, champions again in the PBA League.
Hey, how you doing? Hi, everybody. Hi, bowling fans, PBA fans everywhere watching on Facebook. Got a great show for you today. Hey, the greatest thing is the 2022 season has begun. My name's Tom Clark. I am the commissioner of the Professional Bowlers Association and the PBA League. And we've got a great show for you here today. But first of all, remember, the PBA 2022 season starts this week with the PBA Players Championship, with qualifying in 5 different regions around the country in the Players Championship. All that will be seen live on Flow Bowling, January 15 and 16. And then the first time we're on TV in 2022 on FS1 will be January 22nd, 23rd, and 24th, with the regional finals all live on FS1 until we get to the top 5 players in the Players Championship. And that championship finals will be live on FS1 on January 29th. But one of the most exciting things about the season is the return of the PBA League. We couldn't do it last year because of the pandemic. The PBA League, as you know, it started in 2013, and it's really the greatest league of bowling that's ever been assembled. The greatest players in the world, all bowling team bowling, representing cities, and all run by some of the who's who in bowling as managers of those teams. All of those managers are going to be on this show here today. And probably even more exciting than the fact that the PBA League is back is the fact that it's going to be returning to Bayside Bowl in Portland, Maine this July. And you're going to see fans that have been waiting to have us back, and it's really the most exciting bowling in the PBA. We can't wait to be back at Bayside Bowl. Some of the teams that are part of the league haven't even bowled there yet before, because they joined the league a couple years ago, and as you saw from the highlights, we had to do it without fans and in Florida 2 years ago. But we're back at Bayside Bowl in 2022. And today is what's called the Declaration Day for protected players on each team. The PBA League is made up of 10 teams. There's 2 divisions, but there's 10 teams of 5 players each. And the rules every year are that a team, before the season starts, can protect up to 3 players from their current rosters. So we have the current rosters for each of the 10 teams, and the managers today will talk about who on their roster they're going to protect. The players that are not protected will return to the draft and be joined by the top 75 players on this year's points list, in the 2022 points list. So all season long, players will be competing to try to be in the top 75 so that they can enter the draft pool as well as any of the players that aren't protected here today. That draft will take place April 3rd in Las Vegas at the site of the USBC Masters, which is the last regular event on the PBA Tour this year before the playoffs. And so we'll be talking about the PBA League all year long, starting today with this Protected Players Day. Manager saves happen today. So we're going to talk to each manager in the reverse order that they finished last year. So the last place team from last year will be the first team today to declare their roster. The first team that we will bring in then is the New York City Kingpins, managed by the great Carolyn Doran-Ballard. Carolyn, welcome. How are you?
I'm good. How about yourself?
I'm great. Congratulations to Alyssa.
Sure.
I mean, Junior Team USA, that had to be special.
It was nerve-wracking. You were standing right next to me while it was all taking place. So stop it. You're trying to make light of this, and it had nothing. It had no feeling like that at all. No, I'm kidding. No, I cannot watch. I explained to you, the whole not having control and my own personality takes over. It's just I'm hyper. I want it over. I panic, and my palms, like I said, my palms were sweaty. And Dell is just all mild mannered, has it under control. He's the coach. But it was very nerve wracking. But I am a very proud parent because of all the preparation she did right after missing by one spot, 14 pins at junior gold. She immediately set goals and what she wanted to do, and she was fortunate enough to come through and be selected.
It's a great accomplishment. It shows the hard work. I mean, as you know, it doesn't just come from talent. She was lucky to be born into two of the greatest bowlers of all time, family, but it doesn't come without incredible hard work. So to see it pay off like that is really special. It's great to watch her bowl. I'm sure you felt the same way as you do when you watch the New York City Kingpins.
Oh, I have a lot of feelings when I watch the New York City Kingpins. And I think every single one of my players, because I don't hold back, knows exactly how I feel while I'm watching them bowl.
Okay,
One of the great things, though, about being a manager of this team is there's that understanding from the get-go that there's no filter here and there's no filter with them. So it's all good.
That's great. That's great. Well, let me remind the fans who was on your roster, and you have to make difficult decisions. I mean, these aren't easy decisions for any manager. So the 5 players that are on your current roster are Pete Weber, Marshall Kent, Kyle Sherman, Darren Tang, and Osku Palermo. That's a pretty strong lineup. Now, you can choose up to 3 players to stay on your roster. The other players will go back into the draft. So you can make that announcement now.
Yes. Can I say something though quickly?
Absolutely.
So my choices were made on the fact of, you said something very important. I get first pick when we do the draft. So our protected players are Marshall Kent, Darren Tang, and Pete Weber.
Very nice. Do you want to maybe talk a little bit about how you came to that decision, and a little bit about each of these players and why they help make a strong team?
Well, we know it is no secret. I mean, Pete is obviously the veteran on the team, and probably, eventually things will have to change because of all of the young talent out on the PBA Tour. But he continues to bowl all of the PBA 50 events. He bowls every weekend in a lot of the scratch events. So he's staying on top of his game. We know he is good for filling a frame, and he has great team chemistry with the other players. Marshall Kent has been my steady Eddie. He's basically my go-to guy. I bounce all of my thoughts and ideas off of Marshall. He's basically become the leader of that team, and again has great team chemistry with all of the other players. And Darren Tang, in my opinion, over the last 2 years, if I am not mistaken, and I could be wrong with this one, I think he has struck every shot except I think like 2 in the last 2 years. I mean, he has been absolutely phenomenal when stepping up on the approach, and he deserves a spot, and he earned a spot on this team.
That's awesome. And Darren Tang won his first title last year. And he also won team trials. So you had a good view of him really showing how he can compete across any conditions out there. And
absolutely.
I think bowling fans will be pretty excited to learn that they're going to have another chance to watch Pete Weber bowl on TV and in person. It was sad when he had to retire from the regular tour, from competing regularly on the PBA Tour, and you wonder if you get a chance to see him again. So finding out that you decided to run him back out there again this year in the league is good news for bowling.
Yeah, and like I said, we made our decision based on the fact that I get first pick. So We have already just, I'm not giving that information away, but like I said, it made our choice a little different because having the first pick, we're able to possibly, have our choice of everybody that will be back in the pool. So it actually put us in a pretty good position to be able to make our choice. And again, like I said, over the next few years, I think this league is going to take on a new look. It's going to have a lot more younger, talented players, as we even saw at the team trials. I mean, there's nobody who throws it bad on the PBA or PWBA tour. So it will be exciting to watch how this progresses.
All right, Carolyn. Well, thank you very much. We look forward to talking to you through the year, and you'll be watching to see who you're going to draft in April. And great selections, and good luck.
You bet. Take care of yourself.
Thank you. Okay, the next team up is actually a big news item for the PBA League. We've had the Brooklyn Styles from the start of the PBA League, and the Brooklyn Styles franchise has changed. And that is because of a new relationship, a renewed and extended relationship with Snickers as a sponsor. And so Snickers is the sponsor of the next team up, and they've moved locations to Waco, Texas, a home of Snickers. And they're the Snickers Waco Wonders. But the team franchise stays the same. The manager of the formerly Brooklyn Styles, Johnny Petraglia, and the team roster stays the same. So let me welcome Johnny Petraglia, the great Johnny Petraglia, Hall of Famer, to the broadcast. Hello, John.
Thomas, it's great seeing you again, Tom. And this is one of those days that's really, really tough when you can protect three players and you feel so bad for the two players that you can't protect. It makes it very hard because everybody over the course of the year if they weren't good friends already, they become good friends. And so it makes it very difficult.
For sure. Let me remind people who is on your current roster, and you have to choose between up to three of these players. You had Walter Ray Williams Jr., Brad Angelo, Rhino Page, BJ Moore, and Thomas Larson. So that is the group that you have to choose from. And how did you go about this decision? And let the fans know who are the two or three that you've decided to protect.
Well, I think it has to start. The team does have to get younger. There's so much tremendous talent out there, as Carolyn pointed out. So it made it difficult because the three players that I'm going to protect is, at least for one more year, my superstar, Walter Ray Williams. When Carolyn talked about Darren Tang missing twice, I don't think Walter has ever had an open during the 9 years, and last year was a typical year. He threw 3 strikes and a 10-pin and made the 10-pin naturally. So Walter Ray Williams is a protected player, and my young guy with the electric wrist, BJ Moore, I'm protecting, and the current Masters champion, Thomas Larson, will be my 3 picks.
Okay,
it's good that I have a second pick because that can fill in very well right there.
So that's nice. So we have Walter Ray Williams Jr., BJ Moore, and Thomas Larson returning for the newly named Snickers Waco Wonders. And what do you think about that name? I mean, you got to be a Snickers fan. Who is it?
Well, actually, I am. The more I hear it, the more I like it. It just, I really, I love the whole thing when you say it out. Snickers Waco Wonder. And I think that's really cool. We're gonna have a lot of enjoyment with that name.
And you're pretty familiar with Brooklyn, so for you to be okay with it is good for everybody.
and also candy bars. I'm good with that too. So
yeah, it'll be fun. Maybe a rebirth, a rename, and maybe that changes some of the dynamics. You never know. I mean, I'm sure we'll be unveiling the new jerseys and logo very soon, and that should be exciting too. So your team, much like the New York City Kingpins, again, fans who may have thought they've seen the last of one of the greatest players of all time, perhaps the greatest of all time, Walter Ray Williams Jr., will know that he will be back and bowling for a PBA League team this year on the season. So you haven't seen the last of Walter Ray.
Exactly. He's my rock. That's it.
And Thomas Larson, you had to be proud when he won the Masters this year. Yep.
It was great watching. Yeah. And I think that also BJ will be a good advisor as we go into who the two other players that should be picked later on.
Yeah, filling out the roster, having people that are on the ground, know different generations, certainly important part of it. I really liked how the teams have worked together, the players working with the managers to make decisions. So it'll be really interesting. John, we really look forward to seeing you down the road, especially at Bayside Bowl in Portland, where they love you, and we'll have a lot of fun. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Tom. Looking forward to it. So
okay.
Have a great day.
Okay, John. Thank you. Okay, now that's interesting. Wow, the first two teams, and the fans find out that Pete Weber and Walter Ray Williams Jr. are not done yet. So now we move on to the third team that will be declaring their saved players. It is the Silver Lake Atom Splitters, 3-time champions of the PBA League, and managed by the great coach, great former player, Mark Baker. So welcome Mark to the screen.
Good morning, Tom.
Hello, sir. How are you?
I'm doing excellent. How about yourself?
That's good. Oh, pretty good. You're in California right now, or are you traveling?
Nope, out here in Orange County, California. Yep. At my new training center. Yep.
Oh, nice. And but you do get around the country giving clinics, and people can find you online for how to sign up for those. Correct.
I've been to Wisconsin and Iowa in November. I was in Texas in December. I go to Northern California in a couple of weeks, and always ready to coach wherever.
Awesome. Okay, well, let's take a look at the Silver Lake Atom Splitters. This team has been very competitive every year. Last year, it was 2 years ago, was probably the worst performance that you've had. I mean, every year it seems like you're battling for the cup. The roster is really strong, and currently is Chris Barnes, Jesper Svensson, Tom Doherty, Chris Vi, and AJ Chapman. So clearly difficult decision for you to save up to 3, and you can let everybody know now.
Yeah, this is not going to be fun. You got to take care of the team, and the number one goal is to win. And you got to look at the years everybody's had and who's coming up and everything and things like that. So without going into any more detail, the 3 players I'm going to keep this year on the Silver Lake Atom Splitters, I will keep Jesper Svensson, I will keep Tom Doherty, and I will keep Chris Vi. That's my 3 keeps.
Okay, and obviously the hesitation after the name Chris, because Chris Barnes obviously has been really the heart and soul of that team. Won the Mark Roth MVP award, and has been right there for you, and obviously is a great friend of yours as well, and helps with your clinics. So people would love to hear about that decision making.
That's been I've been fortunate to have been a manager in this thing, I think 7 years, and as Johnny alluded to it, this is never very much fun. I know what happens when I call their name and when I don't. So obviously one of my best friends in the world is Chris Barnes, besides being one of the best bowlers of all time. But luckily when you deal with Chris, you deal with honesty. So he and I have had some long talks about this, and we, this is what I had to do. There was no way I could look Chris Vi in the eye, or Jesper or Tom, after the years they had, and give them any reason whatsoever why they weren't kept. So that's the team I went with. And as Carolyn mentioned, I do get 3rd pick. So, see how things fall. We'll see who gets picked.
Yeah, that is a nice team. I mean, Chris Vi, you had to love watching him win the U.S. Open. Tom Doherty really dominated the World Series of Bowling last year. I mean, your team was on fire. And Jesper, of course, is a threat every time. And Jesper at Bayside Bowl is
exactly
pretty devastating. Yeah.
So you see that my decision was not a fun one. It was just, I feel terrible what I had to do, but I have to take care of this team, and our job is to win. And I still plan on giving ourselves the best chance we have of that come July.
Okay, well, and like you said, Chris Barnes and AJ Chapman, who has really been working on his game and his body, by evidence of social media, he is really getting in great shape for this coming season. They go right back into the draft pool, and they will be available on April 3rd. So, thanks a lot, Mark, for your work on this, and good luck to the Silver Lake Atom Splitters and everything that you're doing.
Thanks, Tom, and I will see you in April.
Okay, man. Thank you. Okay, now we move to the fourth team that is up. It is the LAX, managed by USBC Hall of Famer Andrew Kane. So we welcome Andrew Kane to the show.
Hey, Tom, how you doing?
Hey, how are you? How have you been?
I'm doing great. Staying warm in Arizona.
Arizona, okay.
Yeah.
Well, you have some difficult decisions as well. To let everybody know your current roster and the 5 players that are on your current roster: Jason Belmonte, Jacob Buttriff, Stu Williams, Patrick Gerard, and Anthony Lavery Spar. And it really felt like your team had really good chemistry. A couple of years ago, you made it to the final at Bayside Bowl, and then had to make some changes. And weird year a couple of years ago down in Florida with no cheering going on and bowling in masks and things like that. But we got it done. But now we're back and going back to Bayside. So tell us about your thought process in developing this team.
I'll tell you what, we thought we had a great team last year. We did have a great team, or 2 years ago when we bowled. And, every year you and I have this conversation, I always ask you, can I keep all 5? It's tough for every manager. I'm pretty sure there's a number of us that would love to keep all our players. Hopeful for one day when that might happen. But, like Mark just said, we got to make some tough choices. And so for us, it's a matter of we're going back to Bayside Bowl. There's a lot of history there, and I've got a few players that have had quite a bit of success there. So that's one of the factors I had to consider. It's really tough. I've got until April to make a decision on who we're going to draft, and then we've got a whole season in front of us to figure out, who's going to be clicking and ready to go come July. But ultimately, looking at the past history of the last year, looking at past performance at Bayside, and all these guys, I'm friends with them. They're all friends with each other. So it just makes it incredibly difficult. But ultimately, we've got to take care of the team going forward. And, one of the virtues, unfortunately, of not playing as well the year before is we do get to draft rather early. So we get a pretty good selection of who might be out there. We might end up back with one of the guys that we unfortunately have to drop off our roster to protect. And with that said, we are going to keep Jason Belmonte. I think that was a given. We are going to also keep Jacob Buttriff, who's just coming off another year on Team USA in the USBC team trials, just made Team USA again. One of the best lefties on tour for the last few years running. And then the third pick, Anthony Lavery Spar had a great year the last time in the league, and it made it a really tough choice between him and Patrick Gerard. Played really well, but ultimately we go to Bayside. Stu Williams is our guy. He eats up Bayside. He eats up at the environment. He's a perennial favorite at the Weber Cup. The Europe won this year. So even though he didn't have the most fantastic year on tour, he performed incredibly well in that tournament, and he does great in this environment. And so for the core of the LAX, those are our 3.
That's great. Thank you for that. Jason Belmonte, Jacob Buttriff, and Stuart Williams, all champions. I mean, Belmo, it'll be really curious and interesting to see how this year goes for him. I mean, through COVID and the pandemic, it's been tough, for people from Australia or any international players. Yeah. And obviously he had the least productive year of his career last year. A lot of that just due to circumstances, but certainly you would think that he's got a little chip on his shoulder entering the season.
Yeah, I mean, there's no doubt. A guy like Jason, you never discount him. I mean, he's a champion. He's got the heart of a champion. So I could care less what kind of year he had. I have no doubt when we shoe up in July that he will be there ready to play.
All right, and then how do you watch during the season for what players you might want to draft or might want to consider as part of the draft in April? Do you look for players who are consistent? Do you look for players who can win in incredibly pressure-filled moments on television, or do you look for chemistry on your team? What kinds of things will you be watching for this year?
Yeah, there's no doubt. I mean, TV comes into play big time. Guys that can make pressure shots, guys that can make one shot in the moment. There's a lot of, I've seen it over my career. I've been in that moment, been in that spot, and watched our players on the LAX go through those moments where, especially again, I keep having to stress it. Bayside is just a different animal. Even being on TV doesn't always prepare you for being at Bayside and at Bayside on TV. It is just it's a different animal altogether. It's a bigger stage. It's a more pressure-packed stage, and even some of the best players have some pretty tough moments there. So I just like to watch the guys that they've got a lot of fire. We've got a pretty big personality collection on our team, and so a lot of it for me has always been chemistry. Making sure we get guys that are going to gel together, guys that like each other, and ultimately, we only get a handful of shots each sometimes, and that's what it comes down to, and guys that can be there in the moment with their team, for their team, and just execute. That's who we're looking for.
Awesome. Well, Belmo has a brick on the wall at Bayside Bowl, and you saw who got his name up there this year. Charlie Mitchell, the proprietor,
Charlie Mitchell,
owner of Bayside, shot at 300, got his name up got a brick on the wall. I can't wait to see that one. I might want to take a picture with that one.
Hey, and if he makes the top 75, we might take him.
He'd be a good pick. You might be the team favorite, even over Portland Lumberjacks. All right, Andrew. Look forward to seeing you again. Thank you very much for your work on this, and glad you're back this year with the PBA League. Thanks,
Andrew. For having me, Tom. Take care. Thanks.
Okay, we have the LAX set. Now we move on to the next squad, the Motown Muscle, and manager Del Ballard Jr. Is Del on? Can't wait to talk to Del. Hey, sir. Saw you at the team trials. Congratulations to you as well on Alyssa. That was awesome.
Thank you.
Hey, man. The whole bowling world loves to see you and is happy that you're doing well. I love being able to have a chance to joke around with you all week and watching bowling. I mean, that's what you do better than probably anybody in the history of bowling. I mean, you watch the balls go down. You watch those balls go down the lane in a different way than everybody else, and we all wish we could see it the way you see it. But
the last 8 years that I bowled, I did not bowl very well, so I had a lot of practice on seeing why everybody beat me every week. So that's what I enjoy.
That's great. And we're all with you on your battle, and you seem to be doing great. So we're really, really proud of you and happy for you. Can't wait to have you back at Bayside Bowl. So the Motown Muscle current roster is Matt McNeil, Mitch Hoope, Josh Blanchard, Anthony Simonson, and EJ Tackett. So you can protect up to 3 players from that roster going into this season, and you can let the fans know now.
Well, after collaborating with EJ and Simo, we're going to go a little different direction this year. We're only going to keep 2 protected players, EJ and Simo. And we feel like, because we're in the middle of the pack, there's going to be 1 or 2 players that kind of get left off the list that are going to be really, really good. So us having that 3rd pick kind of lets us see what's going on around us and go with the person that makes our team gel the most. It's really about chemistry in my life.
That's really interesting. So, and what that will mean is with 2 protected players, and they're pretty good, by the way, EJ Tackett and Anthony Simonson. They're about 2 of the greatest young players to come around. Yeah.
Yes.
So what that will mean is you will go through we do the draft in a snake draft. So you'll get your first pick, then you'll get your second round pick, and then depending if any other teams only protect 2 or less players, you would get the first pick in the third round of the draft. We'd go to a third round, and only teams that have not protected 3 players will get another selection. So that'll make this season even more interesting for you. First of all, your current roster players go back into the pool, but then also who will emerge in 2022 and earn the right to have Del Ballard say their name at the draft. I mean, that's what you'll be watching this year.
That's what we're hoping for. We want to make our team gel as well as it possibly can. So I'll be leaning on EJ and Simo heavily to decide. We may pick up, one of our players that we let go, but as we know, Josh can't bowl and Matt hasn't bowled. So those things are pretty easy, and nothing against Mitch. Mitch did well for us, but we kind of want to see how things fall and who's left at the end.
Sure. Yeah, and Mitch was part of the Portland Lumberjacks when they won the Elias Cup, so he certainly knows how to perform in that building. That was a lot of fun. But the Motown Muscle has been, right there every year, and just close matches. And, you almost can't believe it how many times year after year you've had great rosters and made the right decisions, and still just came up just a little bit short, which can happen in Baker bowling and team bowling.
Oh, yeah.
But you weren't able to be there the last time we competed when we were down in Florida. So hopefully you're going to be back. And with you there at Bayside, it's going to be awesome. The Motown Muscle are back. Del Ballard's back. And,
I'll be back.
All right, man. Thank you very much.
Back.
Thanks. We'll see you soon, Del.
You got it.
Thank you. Okay, now we move on to the next squad. And this is another team name, because of a great partner and one of the largest new partners over the last couple of years of the PBA, Guaranteed Rate. It's actually the Guaranteed Rate PBA Tour. And so to have, Guaranteed Rate has moved the location of the former Philadelphia Hitmen to Chicago. They maintain the name Hitmen, so it will be the Guaranteed Rate Chicago Hitmen. The manager and the current roster stays the same, and that manager is Hall of Famer Jason Couch. We welcome Jason Couch.
Hey Tom, how's it going?
Hey, how you doing? How you been?
Doing well, sir.
That's awesome. I saw you've been bowling a little bit.
I have been trying to throw the rock a little bit. Kind of an off season for me right now. Get myself prepared for April when the PBA 50 starts back up.
That's awesome. It's a really full PBA 50 season coming up, and I think 14 events in 2022. A lot of places around the country are going to get a chance to see the greats like you, the masters of the game, and it's just as fun to watch as any professional bowling ever, and it still is. So I'm glad you're planning on being out there.
Yes, sir. And, I'm looking forward to it. I'm actually going to shoe back up at the TSC this year. It's back in Akron, Ohio at Riviera Lanes. And I started my first TSC there. I felt kind of obligated to go back there. I've got family right around the corner from there. Looking forward to it.
Ooh, that'll be exciting. I'm glad. That's great news. Great news to hear. Okay, so we've got the Guaranteed Rate Chicago Hitmen. And the current roster that you had was Matt Ogle, Jason Sterner, Sean Maldonado, Tom Smallwood, and Dom Barrett. So you had some tough decisions. So walk us through it.
Yeah, I mean, it's really difficult. Like every other manager has told you, it's tough to let guys go. Hopefully we can bring them back in the draft. But I mean, 3 guys really stand out on my team this season. Dom Barrett, he's my franchise player. He's done well every year. He's really consistent. So I'll be keeping Dom. My next player that I'm keeping is Tom Smallwood, another guy that I can always rely on. I always put him in the anchor position. He always feels good at Bayside Bowl in Portland. So I've got to keep Smalls. And then Sean Maldonado. Sean was in the winner's circle a couple of times this past season, and I can't get rid of Sean went, he had a great season, and he's always bowled well. So, I'm keeping those three guys. I feel pretty fortunate that Guaranteed Rate has stepped in and sponsored my team. I'll be more than happy to represent the city of Chicago. I love that town. So we're looking forward to a great event.
That's pretty awesome. So Don Barrett, Tom Smallwood, and Sean Maldonado. Maldi had he was part of the only 300 game in PBA League history when he was on the Dallas Strikers. And Tom Smallwood, I don't know, he's going to be a superstar here pretty soon. CBS is doing a sitcom on him, if he isn't already. I mean, and it's going to be on TV starting, I think, pretty soon on CBS, a sitcom, and based on Tom Smallwood's life. So,
well, hopefully he doesn't have any bad words for his team manager in that show.
The behind-the-scenes chatter with his wife about that manager. Well, you made the pick. But, of course, Jason Sterner being left off is pretty interesting because he's actually the reigning king of bowling, and he did that at Bayside Bowl.
Yeah, it's a tough decision, Tom. I mean, it's not a great day to be a manager. We'd love to keep all our guys, but I'm hoping that Sterner's going to be around in the draft, and he had an awesome year last year. It's a tough decision to make, and I have to look back on what we've done the last few years. I've had those three guys on my team for several years now, and we led qualifying a couple years ago. We were in the finals the year before that. So, we have great team chemistry. Whoever I draft in April, I'm sure they're going to be quite pleased to be on the Guaranteed Rate team, and we're just really looking forward to it.
All right, sir. Thank you very much, and we'll look forward to seeing you soon. Good luck and say hi to the family. I hope everybody's doing well. Thank you. That's Jason Couch from the Chicago Hitmen. He made his three choices. So now we'll move on to the next squad, and this gives us a chance to talk about another new sponsor. Not new, back for more, and coming in a big way. Really fun. PBR, Pabst Blue Ribbon, is now the sponsor of the PBR Milwaukee Pounders, who were formerly the Brew City Ballers, which was a new team out of Milwaukee a couple years ago. And they are now going to be called the PBR Milwaukee Pounders. And PBR is also the presenting sponsor of the entire league. And hopefully you saw the King of the Lane series that last year out of Bayside Bowl. And PBR had a big presence at those events, and it was a lot of fun, and the fans really got into it. And PBR is really made up of a lot of interesting people, and they're really fun with marketing. And I think this partnership with the PBA, and thanks to our CEO, Coley Edison, for bringing that to fruition, PBR is going to be a great sponsor of the PBA League. They're going to have a lot of fun. I hope they can all come out to Bayside Bowl, because if any place can show even a beer company how to party, it's Bayside Bowl. So the PBR Milwaukee Pounders, and they are managed by the great Marshall Holman. Welcome, Marshall, to the show.
Thanks, Tom. Nice.
Hello, sir. You got the retro Brew City Ballers jersey. There you go.
I'm sporting the beer, but I need to get some PBRs up here.
If you win, I think you're going to be stocked.
Well, we'll have a great time, and there'll be a couple of malted beverages going my direction.
Marshall, before we start, gotta mention, your partner in crime for years, Mark Roth, and the PBA League Most Valuable Player Award is named after Mark Roth, and Mark would come every year to the PBA League. He loved it, and he loved helping to name that MVP. I actually remember the last conversation that I had with Mark was the night of the PBA League finals, and I was on the phone with him the entire show, because we were talking about who should be the Mark Roth MVP, and he said Wes Malott. He said all he said was Big Nasty. And one thing I've learned about bowling is you don't argue with Mark Roth about anything. Whatever he says is right. That guy knows bowling more than anybody. But it was very, very sad to lose him this year, and definitely wanted to give you a chance to talk about that.
Well, thank you, Tom. Yeah, it was, Mark put up a heck of a fight. He had his first stroke, I think, 2009. So many years of really working hard to try and get himself back. He always said he wanted to get back on the lanes, wanted to bowl the doubles tournament one more time with me. And I'm thinking, well, maybe you can get ready to do that, Mark, but I don't know about me. It was always nice staying in touch with Mark and chatting with him, and Denise. God bless you, Denise. You're just you've done so much. You were there for Mark for so many years. We really appreciate it. I'm looking forward to seeing Denise at the Roth Holman doubles, which will be coming up, I believe, televised on the 6th of March in Milwaukee, home of the PBA. Excuse me, Pabst Blue Ribbon Milwaukee Pounders. I'll get it right. Anyway, it's going to be great to see Denise. I'm looking forward to the tournament. For anybody who ever makes the mistake of calling us the Holman Roth doubles, believe me, Mark is always number one.
I appreciate that, Marshall. Thanks a lot. Sorry for that loss. Let me remind people who was on your roster for the formerly the Brew City Ballers. You had Sean Rash, Ryan Simonelli, Dick Allen, Christopher Sloan, and Zeke Bate. So those were your 5, and you can protect up to 3.
Okay, well, I've been thinking about this for quite some time, and unfortunately, 2 people have to get left off at a minimum. I certainly I couldn't leave off Sean Rash. So Sean, he was the number 1 guy last couple of years with our team. Ryan Simonelli bowled absolutely fantastic. He's also going to remain on my team. And the third player, I think, was a pretty easy pick. I think what do they call him, the average league guy, but Dick Allen bowled great, and he just, all he does is make great shot after great shot after great shot, and he reminds me a lot of back in my day. There was a bowler by the name of Earl Anthony. Now, Dick Allen may not have Earl Anthony's record, but if you watched Earl throw 1 or 2 shots, there wasn't very much impressive about the way he threw the ball. But if you watched his body of work, it was off the chart. And Dick does the same thing. He doesn't have a flashy style, but he gets it done. And as for Zeke and Chris, I talked to both of them over the last few weeks, and expressed my feelings about not being able to keep them on the team. And who knows what that draft will lend itself to? Maybe we'll get 1 or both of them back. Time to tell.
Well, and speak of Mark Roth MVP. Dick Allen is a former Mark Roth MVP award winner for the Silver Lake Atom Splitters. When he bowled for that team, he was unbelievable, and that was at Bayside Bowl. So he loves that building. He's bowled great in individual events there as well. And I'll tell you, I remember Ryan Simonelli making some of the biggest shots you'll ever see at Bayside. You've been there, but you've never managed the team there. So how are you looking forward to that?
Well, I'm looking forward to a lot. I mean, when we did the league a couple of years ago, there was no one there, and we're going from having no one there to going to, it's not even, there's no argument. That Portland, Maine Bayside Bowl is the place to watch bowling and to watch it enthusiastically. Those people are ravenous fans, and it's going to make it a lot more enjoyable for all the players. It's going to heighten all the nerves. It's going to bring out the best in many players, and you may even see the opposite side of that as well.
Well, that's great. Thank you very much, Marshall. It's great to see you. Love having you part of the PBA and part of the PBA League. We'll see you at the doubles, and we'll see you at the PBA League, and we'll see you at the draft. And
absolutely,
Zeke and Chris Sloan, they both go back into the draft. They'll be available to every team. And congrats to you. It looks like a pretty experienced squad you've got. So.
Oh, no doubt about it. Thank you, Tom.
All right. Thanks, Marshall. Okay. We are on to the next squad, I believe the 7th squad that we will get to here. That and it is the Dallas Strikers, another team that's got a strong history in the PBA League with Elias Cup titles and the one Baker 300 ever bowled, which if you haven't seen it before, go look it up on our YouTube channel and watch that game, because it was one of the most exciting moments I've ever seen. Talk about Bayside Bowl. It almost exploded when this next guy punched out in the 10th for a 300 game for the Dallas Strikers. It's the player manager of the Dallas Strikers, Norm Duke. Norm?
Hello, Tom.
Hey, how you doing?
I could listen to Marshall Holman all day long.
I know. He's the full package, that's for sure. It's great to have him. I mean, every manager in this league, it's really one of the best things about the league. And you are in a unique position as being the only player manager, and have been from the onset for every year of the PBA League. What's that like?
It's not very fun on days like this. All the other days are awesome. I can tell you, they're awesome. But the days you have to call the people and let them know they're not going to be protected, it works on us. Especially me, because in all the other years I've selected myself. So I've had to, tell somebody, oh, by the way, maybe it wasn't a fair fight, but the coach is going to put his son in pitcher. So,
yeah, well, let's remind people who was on your roster. Of course, you, and then Tommy Jones, Bill O'Neill, Brad Miller, and Nick Pate. As us, top to bottom, very strong. So what was your thought process, and who are the three or up to three that you will protect for this year's team?
Yeah, first of all, thanks a lot to Guaranteed Rate, to Snickers, and to PBR for sponsoring their respective leagues. Hey, welcome, guys. And yeah, it is always a tough decision, especially when I become in the mix. And I am going to bowl another year, so I am going to protect myself again. And I'm going to keep our nucleus together that were prominent players in every year that they've been a Dallas Striker. In fact, we won twice together with this nucleus. I'm going to keep Tommy Jones, and I'm going to keep Bill O'Neill. Now, the other two players, I hope they're available in the draft. When we're eighth in the selection, and both of them are desirable commodities for any team. So it might be that I don't have a chance at retrieving them. But boy, it would be nice. We sure had a great team last year.
Yeah. Okay. Well, that's pretty exciting. Norm Duke, Tommy Jones, Bill O'Neill. I mean, three of the greatest players of all time. It's good. It's exciting for bowling fans to know that not only Pete Weber and Walter Ray Williams, but Norm Duke will be in action at the PBA League, because let's face it, we all love watching you guys bowl, and have for decades.
So I'm not going to be the oldest league player again.
That's right. That's right.
You go, Walter Ray. Go, Pete.
But yeah, the two that weren't able to, it's hard to argue anyone over Tommy Jones or Bill O'Neill, obviously. But Nick Pate just qualified for Team USA again. Great up-and-coming player. Brad Miller, a big fan favorite with his YouTube channel, and it was a Nagy Award winner. So Brad and Nick are solid individuals that make any team great. So like you said, they go back into the draft, and whether or not they can survive these draft picks and you can get them back again will be interesting to see.
Yeah, last year Nick Pate threw the shot of his life that ended us, basically. He left a really good 7-pin for us to get eliminated from the Elias Cup. And I'll tell you what, I'll take that shot every day, and I'll take that player every day. But as we all know, we can only protect three. And as I also said, I'm the coach that put his son in the pitcher spot. I'm sorry.
All right, Norm. Well, you are one of the veterans of Bayside Bowl as well, and have been there every year since we've started going there. And the fans love you there. So got any words for them before you go?
Yeah, there's one other thing. You see, if I don't protect myself, I cannot draft myself later on. I'm out for good.
Right.
And to never throw another a shot in that league, it's not time yet for me. It's just not. Bayside Bowl has done a marvelous job at hosting that event, and the fans there are, like Marshall said, they're just ravenous, and we love going. And you know what? I cannot wait. I'm nervous right now for our team tell you the truth. And we're still, we got a long way to wait.
Well, enjoy the season. It's good to know, good to hear. Fans also got that little news tidbit that you plan on bowling this year. And so we'll be watching your scores every week. Good luck this coming week at the Players Championship.
Thank you.
And, it's great to have you part of the league and to be that player manager. It's really interesting to watch you maneuver and where you put yourself in the lineup. And so it's great to have you involved, Norm. Great to talk to you. And thanks for those picks.
Thanks, Tom. A lot of fun now.
All right. Okay, now we're down to the last two teams, the teams that made it to the finals. The last time we were able to compete the PBA League. The runner-up was the Las Vegas High Rollers. And so the Las Vegas High Rollers are going to make their decision right now. And that's manager Amleto Monticelli, the Hall of Famer. Welcome, Amleto. How are you?
Good, Tom. How are you?
Great. And you're like Marshall. You joined the league. And we weren't able to go to Bayside Bowl because of the pandemic. And so, but you were able to skipper this new team, this franchise team, all the way to the championship. What was that experience like?
Well, it was an amazing experience competing the first year, having a new team. I would say great bowlers, but not with the highest experience. But that's one of the things that I like the most, coming from the least experienced players, knowing that they're great and then becoming second place was great.
It was exciting to watch. And that same format of a best of 5 match will be the championship match this year. And it's really gripping to watch two teams of that caliber go at it in Baker Bowling in a best of 5 format. And I really enjoyed watching it last year. Now you had a really solid team. Let's remind people of your roster, and this is the first time you'll go through this process of having to protect just up to 3 of these players: Francois Lavoie, Andrew Anderson, AJ Johnson, Richie Teese, and Ildemaro Ruiz. And that team gelled really well in their first year together. So let everybody know your decisions.
Yes, my decision is Francois Lavoie, who just won the TFC, the Kia TFC champion. The second one is going to be Andrew Anderson, who won the doubles with Chris Prater. And then he bowled the Derby, and he won that in Bayside Bowl. So obviously he can strike there. And then AJ Johnson, who just became a new Team USA member. I think it's for 5 times. So these 3 players are going to be protected. Unfortunately, you cannot protect all of them. But I'm sure that what I have right now, I feel very confident.
You're right. These players do have a lot of team experience with Team USA or Team Canada, as Francois Lavoie is.
Yes.
And also collegiate players with great college experience bowling in a team atmosphere. What's different about bowling in a team atmosphere versus the more traditional individual open field events that the PBA is mostly known for?
Well, talking thinking the way I bowl, it was a big experience, big change from being just a single bowler than a team player. You have to actually pay attention what's going on with all of them, even though you can be bowling good, but you need to think about the other players that are not doing so well, and to keep the high energy level and making sure that they don't get down themselves and stay the high energy with the team. And I think that's the most important thing in the team is that, no matter what happened, we need to let it go as soon as we can, because we need to really focus and concentrate for the next shot. And I think that's the key in a great team.
Well, it's awesome having you part of the league, and for all your accomplishments and what you've done to make the game of bowling go global, and the way that you've represented the international community in the PBA, and you have to be proud of how that's really grown in recent years. With the World Series of Bowling and the number of players that have won titles from all over the world, that's a little bit different than when you were dominating.
Well, like I told of some of those players coming from other countries, I said that it was a lot different when I came out. I had to go and cut all the bushes for you guys so you can walk in through. And that was rough. That wasn't fun. As most of the people know, how many times maybe it came to my mind that I needed to retire and go back home. But that wasn't in my thought process. I said, I'm going to make it somehow. I don't know how, but I will. And here I am, enjoying bowling, coaching, and everything.
Well, you have been to a lot of great atmospheres for bowling, but I don't think you've ever been to Bayside, have you?
Yes, I have. I believe I bowled there with Dallas Strikers. I think I bowled with them a couple of years.
Oh, you were on the squad. That's right. You were in the first year. Now I remember that. You actually were on the team in bowling. And it was a lot different that first. I remember making the 4-pin was tough. I mean, making spares was tough. The way that those fans were going crazy. That's right. You were there. That was that was 6-7 years ago, I think.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah, yes. Well, that's cool. So you'll be back.
Yes. Look forward.
All right. Well, that's the Las Vegas High Rollers, Frankie Lavoie, Andrew Anderson, AJ Johnson, and great players, Richie Teese and Ildemaro Ruiz will go back into that draft pool. Thank you very much. We'll talk to you through the season and see you at the draft in April and then at Bayside in July for the competition. Thanks, Emily.
Absolutely, Tom. Thank you so much.
Okay,
Have a wonderful day.
Okay, now we're down to the last team, and it's the champs, 2 years running, the hometown team. And they won it the first year at Bayside Bowl in front of the hometown fans. The fans came down onto the lanes. It was really one of the great moments in bowling history for me to be there and to be a part of watching team bowling really explode on the PBA level. And it reached a height that night that we really had never seen before. And then they won it again, and that time with no fans down in Florida. The last time we were able to compete at the PBA League. Then, of course, as we talked about earlier, we weren't able to have the PBA League in 2021. So it's exciting to have it back in 2022. And the defending champions are the hometown Portland Lumberjacks, and they are managed by USBC Hall of Famer Tim Mack. And we welcome Tim to the show.
Tom, how are you, buddy?
Hey, how you doing, Timmy?
Great to see you. And listen, it's been great to listen to all the managers and the fact that we're back again and have the opportunity to go back, to Bayside as a defending champion. It's just going to be an amazing feeling, to be quite honest with you. I want to also pass along a couple things. Mark Roth was a family friend of ours, and Denise as well, and meant a great deal to me personally as a bowler. And last year when the Big Nasty, or excuse me, a couple of years ago when Big Nasty won that award, he actually presented me with the Mark Roth Award as the MVP, which I'll never forget. But losing Mark is and also I'll say this, Tita Semez as well. The PBA lost some really big icons in our sport, but I know we'll do the best to represent those guys and Mark and Denise on the lanes, coming forward. And also what Johnny said, this is a difficult day for the managers, as most of the managers have reiterated that it's a tough time. As I called you, and I wanted our 5 guys to have an opportunity to bowl again. I thought they earned the right, to be back-to-back champions, especially since we, when we won the league last year, or the last time we had it without the fans. We were able to win it in another environment, in a different environment. And I was really hoping our 5 guys would have an opportunity to defend that title, come Bayside, come in front of the crowd. So
yeah, I don't know. You keep leaning on me for that. You're really good. You're a good manager. You keep leaning on the officials to see things your way, and probably, we probably will at some point, but not this.
Well, I've got 2 of these things right now, and I just wanted to put them up here, on my bald head. We've got 2 of them, and we're hoping to add a third. You mentioned PBR for stepping up too, for the sponsorship. And as you guys know, I've got the greatest owner in sports in Charlie Mitchell. He's been instrumental in getting these ravenous fans to come support us and support the PBA. And I'll be honest with you. Selfishly, I've always wanted to bowl in that environment, and I got the opportunity at the King of the Lanes to be on the lanes, and it was electric, and something I'll never forget. Big thank you to you and obviously Coley Edison for everything she's done. Giving me that opportunity, and we wish her well. Down the road, whatever she tackles on next. But she did some amazing things for bowling. But what an environment, and I know we all can't wait to be back, Tom. We can't wait to be back. But with that in mind, I know I have to tell the fans.
Let me tell people.
Who we kept.
Yeah, let me make sure everybody knows your roster first.
Sure, go ahead. I'm sorry.
And first of all, we mentioned Mark Roth. We talked to Marshall about him, and you mentioned him. He was there that day that you won the title at Bayside Bowl, and he was right on the floor with all.
Never forget his face. I'll never forget it.
Oh, beautiful! I have that photo, and I love it, and it's just one of the great moments. I'm so happy that Mark got to have that kind of end of his life after he went through such a debilitating illness, and so it was great to have Mark right there on the floor. And you mentioned Tita, and it makes me have to mention the other three great people you can't tell the history of bowling without: Harry Smith, Jack Biondolillo, Roy Buckley.
We lost some giants.
All giants, and we'll definitely remember them at the TOC when we go back to Riviera Lanes, and where's it's really the heart of the PBA right there. So to bring the TOC back there and be able to remember what those people meant to the sport will be exciting. But the Portland Lumberjacks, or will be special, I should say. What will be exciting is the Portland Lumberjacks making this pick, because it's tough. You have on the roster Packy Hanrahan, Martin Larson, Chris Prather, Kyle Troop, and Wes Malott is the team you have built, and now you can protect up to 3. So let us know.
Yeah, listen, it's obviously a very difficult decision. We've had 5 guys, gel unbelievably great together, and I think a lot of it has to do with the camaraderie and not getting the best guys, Tom. It's getting the right guys for your fit. And I always ask our team who we feel is fit to bowl. I've talked to all 5 guys multiple times, and obviously just had to reiterate another phone call with them just recently. And we're going to protect the big nasty Wes Malott. He's been our franchise player. He's called the franchise for a reason. He's been amazing, 2-time MVP of that league, and he's been unbelievable. He's solidified himself in that 5 spot. Reigning PBA Player of the Year. What a season Kyle Troop had. He's just been incredible on so many different levels. Personally, to me, to watch his growth over the years has been phenomenal, and to be able to work with him closely over the years and be a small part of his success has just been a pleasure and a joy for me. And, the Shark, Chris Prather, a lot of success in that building. Won the original playoffs there for the 100,000. Feels comfortable in Bayside Bowl. We're looking forward to seeing the Shark come out and do great things for us. But I'd be remiss if I don't mention our 2 T players, and Martin Larson, who was absolutely unbelievable. Everybody had a chance to draft him last year. And we took him, because I know how great he is. I know how great he's been in the Weber Cup, and we'll see how this year shapes up. He's just come off an injury with his hand, saving his daughter. He cut up his hand really bad, and I talk to Martin quite often. I have a really close personal relationship with him. So, we're looking in the snake draft to be able to pick up 2 great players. And Packy Hanrahan, Hanrahan, the Pac-Man, he had his coming out party last year. Made a couple of shows, and ultimate respect for him. And everybody else had a chance to draft these 2 guys, but we do our homework, and we try to get the best 2 guys that are going to be available for our team and our camaraderie. And I will let everybody know, and the fans know, this year's a little bit different. In the past, the qualifying was Baker games. Obviously you had to gel, but this year we're going to be bowling full team games, I believe. And I don't know if that's for public knowledge or not. So Tom, I'm sorry if
no problem.
I stepped over my boundaries, but that's a big deal, and that's a game changer when it comes to obviously managing yourself through Bayside, which personally as a bowler, I've had a lot of success there. So, but as a manager, to manage yourself through the, those ebb and flows of the ups and downs and peaks and valleys of that building, are going to present all the managers' challenges. And we're gonna look and see how the season shapes up. Exciting times, guys. Tune in to PBA. Tune in to Flow Bowling. Our Facebook page. Follow the PBA. The Players Championship is going on this weekend, and Timmy Mack has decided to do a little bit more bowling this year. So I'll be shooting up as a bowler this year. But I welcome and love this role. I love that I have 2 of these hats. I love it. I'm hoping to add another one to the collection. They sit right in my little TV right in front of my glass case. So I'm reminded daily of what the PBA League means to me and the Lumberjacks. So we got the banners up there, and we're looking forward to coming back.
Yeah, we love you, part of the PBA League, the energy you bring, the your sports background and your ability to lead men is really fun to watch. And obviously you have an incredible core of a team with Wes Malott, Kyle Troop, and Chris Prather. But as you said, Martin Larson and Packy Hanrahan were electric competing for you. I mean, they were really exciting players. Martin, I don't know if he ever missed in the championship.
I think he missed one time in the final match, but I know what he brings to the table. I know what some of these guys bring to the table. And, the draft is going to be interesting. A lot of guys, Chris Barnes being left off the draft. He's one of the greatest of all time. Mark Baker, man, what a tough decision. A lot of guys, tough decisions. There's great bowlers left off and great bowlers that are coming up. So this is not an easy day for us guys, as the managers, have to go through this. And it's a difficult process, but I think one that we all take serious and one that we all have a lot of sympathy for the players, because we're all players, and we're trying to make the best decisions and the best fit and make it the best, do the best job. And, just want to say a big thanks again to PBR for stepping up, and Tom, you for stepping up, for keeping this league alive and giving us these great opportunities. And like I said, we wish Coley the best. What a great job she did, and we'll miss her. But we got to carry the tradition at Bayside Bowl, and I'm looking forward to coming back and putting on another hat.
All right, Tim. Thank you very much. Okay, that's it. That's all 10 teams. I hope you enjoyed that show. It was pretty great to have a chance to listen to 10 of the greatest minds ever in bowling, and to be able to talk to them. And it's great to have them part of the PBA League. A couple of house cleaning things. Remember, 2 years ago, we introduced 2 women's teams to the PBA League, and unfortunately, they're not coming back. But the good news and the reason for that is because the PWBA is back full force. So they have the PWBA and will be competing there. But all 10 of those players that were on the women's teams 2 years ago in the PBA League, their names will be put into this draft. So if any of these teams want one of those players, because they were part of the league 2 years ago, we're going to include them in this draft. And that's one thing. The other thing, I'll reiterate what Tim Mack said. The format for the PBA League in July will be all 10 teams. They're going to be split up into 2 divisions. So 5 teams in the Anthony division, 5 teams in the Carter division. And they are going to bowl 6 games, full team games, with each player bowling a full game, not a Baker game. So it's basically 30 games per team, 6 games, 5 players per team. And then they're going to be seeded in their division, and then put into a step ladder. So the number 1 seed is going to be the top team in a step ladder finals on TV in Baker bowling. So you're going to have all 5 teams on TV, all 5 teams in the Anthony division on TV bowling in a step ladder. And the eventual winner of the Anthony division will move on to the Elias Cup final to face the Carter division champion in a best of 5 Baker match. So it's going to be really exciting. There's also going to be individual contests at the PBA League at Bayside Bowl that will find the top players on each team, and the top players overall advance to all-star competitions. And that's going to be another added bonus and more shows and more excitement from Bayside Bowl coming out of those events. All right. Well, thank you very much for joining us. I think it's been great. We're so excited at the PBA that we're starting a new season. We can't wait to see the fans back out there. The Players Championship this weekend. You'll be able to pay attention to what's going on PBA.com, on all of our social media channels like this one on Facebook, and also on Flow Bowling. And then we'll be back on TV on FS1 starting January 22nd. And the entire season is going to be live. It's going to be an awesome 2022 year, great major championships, 6 different events with $100,000 first place prizes. It's going to be awesome. And the players that emerge and end up in the top 75 at the end of the year in points will be eligible for the PBA League draft. And that draft, again, will happen April 3rd in Las Vegas, and you'll be able to watch it. So thank you once again. Thanks, everybody, for running the show, and we'll see you soon.